Welcome to the Carrington August Resident Council recorded meeting. I'm Tom Whitaker, Executive Director, standing behind the camera. We're going to go around the table and introduce our community nurse as well as the members of our Residents Council.
My name is Ellen Durodola. I'm the Carrington community nurse. My duty here pretty much is making sure the residents are okay. If they have any complaint of being ill, they come to me and we go from there. Either we call the doctor or we think of something else, first aid for them. That's my job here.
So Helen, where's your office located?
My office is on the second floor of the IL building.
Okay, second floor of independent living. And what's your schedule?
9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
So that's a full-time registered nurse with a BSN in the community to support our independent living residents Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Helen, could you tell us a couple of the services that residents could ask for your help with?
The blood vitals, they can ask me for their vitals. If they feel like their blood pressure is high or low, they come to me. If their oxygen level is high or low, they come to me. And if they just feel any adverse effect, maybe they don't feel good, they feel kind of weird, they can always come to me.
That's great. I think what we'd also like to go one step further, considering the current COVID environment, if a resident is feeling that they're displaying any symptoms of coronavirus, we would ask that resident to self-isolate immediately and then to inform Helen. They could call the front concierge desk and ask to be transferred to Helen or our Director of Nursing, Abesh Ayula, or to be transferred to me directly, and I'm available 24/7. The concierge has my cell phone number. So again, to review, if any independent living resident is displaying symptoms of coronavirus, or if you find out that you have recently been in contact with someone who has tested positive and you may have been exposed, the protocol is to call the concierge desk. You don't have to tell them why, but you ask to be transferred to Helen, Abesh, or Tom, and we would ask that you self-isolate in your apartment, schedule a test to be tested, and self-isolate pending receiving those test results. All right, we also have our resident council here today, and I'd like to introduce them one by one. Ms. Cosetta, could you go first?
Yes, I am a member of the Resident Council, the Vice President. I'm also chairing the Food Committee, working with Monica and all of the food administrative staff. We meet bi-monthly. We had a meeting on Wednesday, so it should be coming up on 1901, scheduled sometimes this week, to get you an update on what we're doing in food services. For new residents, I'd like for them to know that there are cards in the mail room that they can fill out if there are any negative remarks about the meal or if there are positive remarks about the meals. That staff would love to hear from you and make the corrections if they need to be, if there are any special diet things that you might need. Let that staff know they are willing to accommodate you, and we are here to assist you in all of those needs, and that staff, they will accommodate you.
Thank you, Ms. Cosetta.
Hi, I'm Phil Castrogiovanni. I'm your president of the council, and I attend all the committee meetings as part of the committee and helping out the chairs of the committee. If you have any specific problems, you can always get either one of us, because our telephone numbers are at the library. I'm sorry, the post office. You can get a hold of either one of us at any time. If you have a problem, let us know. If you can't get a hold of Tom or anything else, let us know. We'll try to get you to the right place. That's basically what we do.
Thanks, Phil.
I'm Jaime Levin. I'm the treasurer of this wonderful auspicious group. And as such, not necessarily related, I chair the Building Operations Committee. So the Committee of Residents works together with Dave Jenkins to talk about issues that have to do with the building, and later on in this meeting, there'll be some information for you about building issues.
Thanks, Haima. And Mary Jo, if you could lean in just a little forward. Wonderful.
I'm Mary Jo Wenkus. I am the secretary on the resident council. I also chair the activities committee. Like the dining services committee, my committee meets twice a month on the first and third Tuesdays at 1:30 on the third floor. It's called an arts and crafts room, but we call it informally the ping pong room. I don't record that particular meeting, so if you want to hear what's happening, come on by. Although we do have a limit of 10 people to the room, as I'm sure you know by now. And don't forget, you can always work directly with Rick and Axel, or you can come to me if you have something you want to talk about. Everybody's open to hearing anything we can do to help people stay occupied through COVID time. I guess that's it.
And I think Cosetta and Mary Jo both brought up great points. We definitely want to hear ways we can improve. We also love to hear the things that residents are enjoying and like very much, because that lets us know what we should keep on the menus and on the activity calendars. So we want to know just as much what you like as what we can do better. I know that Helen has many things on her calendar, but one of the very important things that we asked her to come down here and discuss is the upcoming flu shots. So I'll ask Helen to speak briefly about that, and then we'll let her get back to her very busy day.
As we all know, the flu season is around the corner, and it's very important for us to get our flu shots, because without it, it is not good. You either get hospitalized or, in the adverse event, death. So flu vaccine is very important. It helps your immune system to fight the influenza virus, and it reduces death and hospitalization in adults, youth, and kids also. Starting from September, is a work in progress. We're going to start giving the flu shot starting September. We're just waiting for a go-ahead.
Okay.
That's it.
So we'll be partnering with
Mariano's
Pharmacy, which is the pharmacy we partnered with last year to provide flu shots for residents and staff. And Helen, I believe the CDC is recommending getting that flu shot even earlier this year than previous years, correct?
Yes.
So if you're not going to get it here, I'd encourage you, all our residents, to make that appointment with CVS, with Walgreens, with Mariano's, with your doctor's office if you get it somewhere else, and get that taken care of sooner rather than later.
The partnership with Mariano's means they're going to come here, correct? Yes. Okay, it's on site. All right.
Thank you.
Might want to mention that they should bring their Medicare card. That's like we did last year. Their supplement card if they have it, and I think they need a form of ID.
Right.
So to reiterate, Phil says, please bring your Medicare card, your health insurance, your supplemental health insurance card, and a government ID, and that would be both for the on-site flu shot as well as if you go somewhere else to get it. So please keep that in mind. Haima.
Yes. Helen, how will residents learn when the flu shots are being given and where?
Immediately we get a go-ahead from Mariano's that this is the 7 days you're going to come. We're going to make an announcement.
We're gonna put something in writing for,
yes.
So each resident will receive at their door an announcement about the flu shot, and then you'll be doing it down in a public area. Is that correct?
Exactly.
On the second floor,
With
like
masks
right
on.
here in your office.
Is it first come, first serve, or is there an RSVP?
We'll likely plan for an RSVP just because one of the differences this year is we want to minimize the number of people gathering.
Okay.
So we'll do our best to have social distance in any sort of line that forms and minimize it, so maybe we only have a few folks showing up scheduled in each
Exactly.
hour so that we're making sure they're spaced out and we're being safe.
The other thing, this is just from last year that they did it. If Mariano gives you the forms that they want and they're pre-given to the patient, to the people, they can fill it out and bring it with them. That expedites.
day?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let Abesh know about that.
That's a great point Phil had. Perhaps when we obtain those forms and distribute the notification to residents' apartments and tape it to the door, we'll include the form. That would
be
help.
a good idea.
Very
Yeah, that would
efficient
be
process if you
great.
could bring your form pre-filled out, but you'll still need to bring those cards because we may need to make copies of those cards.
Correct.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Helen for coming. We're really glad to have her at the Carrington supporting our independent living residents. And I'm sure you have a lot to do, so I appreciate your time this afternoon and thank you for coming down.
Thank you,
Welcome
thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Bye, Helen.
Bye-bye.
Exit stage right. Okay. Now the voice from behind the camera is going to sit down at the table and we'll keep the meeting going. Good afternoon. All right, so we began with introducing Helen, the members of our resident council. I know we have some residents who have lived here a while and we have some residents who are new. So this, in the current COVID environment, we feel the safest way in the absence of being able to gather in a large group to share updates is to record it and share it with the residents on our in-house Touchtown channel 1901. This is being recorded on Friday, August 21st, and the expectation is that it will be broadcast on the channel on Tuesday, the 25th. I think I have that right. Tuesday, the 25th. So we have some.
What, like 6 o'clock p.m.?
I'm going to include that in today's update. I've asked Axel to provide the times. I don't have the information as of right now, though, the exact time on Tuesday.
And for new people, the reason why we loaded on the last Tuesday of the month is because pre-COVID, when we met as a large group, the all-resident independent living meeting was the last Tuesday of the month. So for people who've been here, we're replicating that, and for new people, that's the story behind that.
Thank you for clarifying. Put some context to all of it.
A little bit, yeah.
All right. So where shall we start?
Let's start with activities. Because I'd like to get this over with. I love you all. Hey, we have a fair number of new people who have joined. In fact, I just saw a list. These are new folks who've joined since we started our wonderful COVID experience here. And then there are some people who maybe were here just a little before that, and so maybe there's some catching up to do. I want to remind everybody that volunteers are always welcome and wanted. As most of you probably know, Trudy calls bingo twice a week, and Haima teaches classes several Mondays in a row, and I don't know when she'll do it again, but there are, for anybody who would be interested in hosting or doing a class of some kind, please come and talk to Rick. We have a projector. There's a Carrington-owned projector and speakers, so we can help you get set up. There's all kinds of ways that you could integrate into the community with your skills if that's what you'd like to do. I am hearing through the grapevine, not that there is one, of course, at the Carrington, but I'm hearing through the grapevine that there are new people who would like to play some games. There are a lot of established groups right now who can't really expand. There are some games you really can't have 5 or 6 people, plus, of course, we have limitations to how many people can be in a room. So, I don't know how to get people together in any meaningful way, except to ask you if you are interested in playing one of many games that are played routinely here: Rummikub, Canasta, Mahjong, Bunko, Progressive, Wizard, or whatever else you might want to play. I'm creating a sign-up sheet that will be at the front desk where I'd like, if you, again, this is if you want to play a game and there's no way to get into an existing game, come down, put your name and your contact information under the game you want to play, and you can do several of them if you want. And in a couple weeks, depending on how many people sign up, I'm going to pull you together and see if you can either create some new groups, or if some existing groups would be willing to splinter off a little. Maybe there's a little mix and match, but we'll try to help you find each other, because that's kind of a struggle here. Is if you want to play Rummikub and there's no room for you, but there may be others who do. So we're going to give that a try. This is my attempt. I don't know if it's going to work. I'll put a notice about this in Touchytown. We're also, Pat O'Donnell, who is married to the president of our council,
Lucky lady.
is willing to help bridge players who are not currently playing but who would like to learn the updated bridge rules, methods. I don't play bridge. I don't even know what the language is. We're not offering any way to teach bridge, but if you've played bridge in the past, maybe even you're a little rusty, or you moved in and you used to play bridge frequently, Pat O'Donnell is willing to teach you how we play it here, but that's another sign up. So this, and again, this is bridge only at this point. So this sign up sheet, I don't know what you can see from there, will also be at the front desk. So please, and I'll be checking these in a couple weeks. And ask you all to bear with the activities group's attempts to figure out how to handle attendance. So some things require RSVP and some things are first come, first serve. So whatever activity you are interested in participating in, be aware of what you need to do. And I do believe that the activities calendar indicates, this nice big calendar, what is RSVP and what isn't. So, okay, I think that's it for activities. Again, if you have any ideas or concerns, feel free to talk to Rick or Axel, or you can ask me as well. I think that's it.
And I do want to mention, thank you, Mary Jo. I think it's important that all our residents, including the new residents, are aware that due to the IDPH guidance we follow for these indoor groups and games, we have a limit of no more than 10 people in a particular room at any time. So for those first come, first serve events, we have run into where it's a good challenge to have. We're getting to the point we have 11, 12, 13 people who want to participate. We're always open to having a second option for any existing activity. And one of the great parts about the design of the Carrington is that we have so many activity rooms. We have multiple locations on each floor where what we're doing as a group is coordinating the ability for residents to have their small group gatherings in these locations, and there's plenty of space. It's just a matter of scheduling. So no more than 10 at a time, but we're happy to accommodate with scheduling.
Tom, I'd like to add that as we've become more able to have more activities going on, it behooves us as independent living residents, it behooves us to monitor ourselves. It isn't up to somebody else to tell us to keep our masks on. It isn't up to somebody else to tell us to keep them up over our noses. It also isn't up to anybody else to count the number of people in the room. So when we come into a space, I think that it's very appropriate for me to count the number of people who are there already and find out if there's room for me, and if there isn't, to get the heck out of there, because I didn't come soon enough or whatever it turned out to be. But I think it's important that we take the responsibility of monitoring ourselves for these activities. It keeps us all safer, it keeps us all well, And it is all of our responsibilities, and I urge everybody to think in those terms. Take the responsibility yourself, keep us safe.
I will echo that. Cover your face, keep Carrington safe. You may have noticed recently that the seating arrangements in the cafe and in the tap room and the bistro have been adjusted. That's to accommodate no more than 10 seats, so we can make sure that we're observing that 10-person group maximum, and with larger tables so that we can have residents spaced out socially distant as possible. I will plug very briefly that we did relocate the morning pastry service to the dining room, so feel free to grab a cup of coffee from the cafe area. You can grab a pastry from the dining room, sit at one of the dining room tables on the west side, no more than 2 to a table, or feel free to go out to the patio area and enjoy it out there. Shall we go, I guess we'll go counterclockwise?
Okay, as far as the Building Operations Committee is concerned, this committee meets on the second Wednesday of every month at 1:30 in the Crown Dining Room on the 3rd floor. And that's again, count the number of people when you arrive, and you're welcome to come as long as we don't exceed 10 people. The kinds of things that have gone on in this committee, we have had people request that, you know, if you walk the building, if you like walking, it's about a half a mile around the building. And if you like walking that, sometimes by the time you get to the south side of the building, you're kind of tired and you'd like a place to stop. There are chairs that have been ordered that will be just inside the gates of the 2 courtyards, so that if you want a place to sit in the shade and just rest and then continue on your walk, or just hang out and chat with somebody, that's one of the things that has been one of the things that the Building Ops Committee has accounted for. And Tom tells us those chairs, Tom and Dave tell us those chairs will be arriving soon. The most imminent thing at the moment, you may have seen that there have been window washers here of late. They have already washed all the windows, interior and exterior, in assisted living, memory care, and any empty apartments in the IL building, the independent living building. Dave Jenkins, who's the building operations plant manager here, Dave is preparing a letter for all residents about when your apartments will have window washing done. This year, the Carrington is providing interior window washing as well. That's not necessarily a given for every year. It's going to happen this year if you wish. It's not required of you. If you want to let the window washers into your apartment, that's fine. They are screened like all other workers who come into the building are screened every day, temperature, where have you been, what have you been doing, kind of thing, so that you can feel confident about letting them into your apartment if that's what you're comfortable doing. We would ask the following, however: if you want your windows washed on the inside, you need to be a little helpful, and you need to give them access to your windowsills. So if you have precious items on the windowsills, you should move them somewhere safe. Dave will be providing at your door a sheet that will tell you which part of the week the window washers will be coming to your part of each given floor. So if you have any questions about that, once you see that letter, you can certainly check with the concierge or stop me somewhere, or you'll see Dave walks the building all the time. You can certainly ask Dave. Big, tall guy, big steps. He walks fast. You can, if there's more information you need, please let us know.
Will they be able to enter your apartment if you're not there?
Well, I don't know the answer to
Okay.
that.
I believe staff would be able to grant access. I think 2 things are important, as Jaime stated. Make sure that your windowsill is completely clear. If you have tchotchkes, knickknacks, photos of loved ones.
I said important items.
Yes. Well, tchotchkes are very important to me because I'm a goofy guy. Make sure those are cleared off the windowsill. We just want to be respectful of everyone's time. We also don't want to put anyone in an awkward situation where you ask a window washer, oh, can you move it for me? It accidentally gets knocked over or dropped. Let's just avoid that altogether by clearing the windowsills off on our own. Staff would be able to grant access. And as you're watching this, which broadcast Tuesday, August 25th, my understanding is that the scheduled window cleanings for independent living will be they'll begin the week of August 31st. So you're watching on Tuesday the 25th, beginning next week. And as we go through, I do my updates for the community on Tuesdays and Fridays. They'll be posted to the doors for all the residents. They also get brought over to assisted living for our residents on that side of our community. We'll keep you informed about the process, and we'll make sure you're aware of what's going on.
Thanks, Tom.
Sure thing. Go.
Let's see, I don't have a committee per se, but will talk to you about the welcoming committee. If you are interested into joining the welcoming committee so that we can welcome our new tenants that come in, I would recommend you to get in touch with Pat O'Donnell, and that is my wife, and I have a different name. I kept my maiden name.
Thank you.
And
So did Sam.
yeah, so basically, she probably, if you get in touch with her, she's pretty on the ball as far as keeping things together. Okay, she keeps me together, so that's great. And I am just starting to work with Helen to be in touch with her and seeing how we can help her in her transition throughout the house, and if there's anything that we need to get to you that she would like that she can help you, that's the communication. If you see me and you need a question answered by Helen and you haven't seen Helen, if you give me the question, I will get it to Helen. I promise you that. And I think that's it for me.
Thanks, Phil. And hopefully you can see Miss Cozetta behind me here.
I was the first one to speak.
Yeah. But Tom wasn't sitting
So what do you mean? She's saying that she already announced when the food and beverage committee meeting would be
I thought
broadcast.
That's it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, when it would be broadcast, and that we meet bi-monthly.
I gotcha.
Twice a month, and with the director of food services, Monica, we meet with her. She wants to meet all the needs of the residents, even if there's special diet concerns. She will listen if any nutritionist has provided any special diets. They try to work out that for the resident, so they shouldn't be concerned if they're on low fat, low sodium, or they're on, or whatever.
And if there's a problem, call.
And if there is a problem, you always call, and they're willing to listen. You got a great group of staff in the food service area that want to listen, want to hear from the residents, and want to add items to the menus to meet the needs of the residents, because we all have sometimes different tastes and taste buds. And yes, ma'am.
Cosetta, I had lunch one day out on the patio with a resident who said to me, well, how did you get that for lunch? Whatever it was I had for lunch that was different than the other person had. And I said, I wrote it on the menu. And perhaps that's something that our newer residents don't realize, that if there's something you particularly would like, there are things you can get that aren't necessarily listed on the menu, and you can write them in.
I can let them know that they can always order fruit and cottage cheese. If they want something light, they can have a hot dog or a hamburger. They can have salmon. It's always available, and most of us always like salmon. We can have tuna. They always have the chicken salad or the tuna salad. If they don't see it on the menu and that's something light that they want, just a salad, Cobb salad, they can write it in and they will accommodate.
Cosetta, would it be possible at this juncture, we've had a number of new people, would it be possible for us to to print a list of the always available items?
I can talk to the Director of Food Services,
Okay.
Monica, and see if they can get a list of what can be the left side of the menu that
Yes.
most of the old residents are
Yes.
familiar with.
Correct.
If we can get a copy of the left side of the menu, of what's always available to get to the residents, and it could be presented at the next time they submit the menus.
Yeah, they could
They
be
could-
down in the living room on the pile of things.
Or
Because,
either they give us at our door the new menus,
Mhm.
and they can
Yes.
put that listing with it.
that would be very helpful, cause we're doing this as word of mouth at the moment, so that might be a very helpful thing.
And they can keep it to remind themselves of what's available.
Thank you.
And coffee, they can always get coffee, they can
Iced
write
tea.
it in, and, we'll let them know to give them a listing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cosetta. Let's see, I'd just like to say, being aware that we're doing this once a month, we also want to be available for communication. And I know that if you're not an email person, you're not a smartphone person, feel free to call the concierge desk or come down to the concierge desk, ask to be transferred to the director or manager of the department that you want to have a conversation with. If you are an email person, and I'll give in addition to my resident counsel, I'll give a couple shout outs to Jeannie Brown and Margaret Nordquist, who really utilize the email address residentquestions@thecarrington.com. If you send an email with a question or a concern, I'm one of the people who receives it. We have our team that receives it. If you have a question about assisted living or memory care, almcquestions@thecarrington.com. And those are two great ways to send an email. You know, if you have something that pops in your head at 8:30 at night on a Saturday and you don't want to wait until Monday, you think you might forget, feel free to send an email. I check mine over the weekend. I try to reply as often as possible. So communication is key. That's one of the reasons that we're posting the Tuesday and Friday updates to the resident doors each time now going forward. We want you to have that in writing. I'd also like to touch on a couple updates. Mary Jo did a great job announcing activities. We are at the Carrington because we are social people. There's a reason I don't work in a cubicle. There's a reason our residents chose to move to this community, and having activities is one of them. We're adapting to how activities can happen in the community, and we're growing them. So in addition to the game sign up that you can do at the concierge desk, if you're interested in games and want to join with some people who may like the same game as you, we've increased the exercise classes to twice a day. So that's twice a day, Monday to Friday. Rick has worked scheduling his staff so that the gym will soon be open 7 days a week. On Saturday and Sunday, the hours will be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Rick's also planning to increase the number of swim classes from 1 to 2 a week. That'll be in our pool area. And we found what I think anyway, is a clever way to bring back a resident favorite, chair volleyball. We have food and beverage dining room staff that are assisting with running chair volleyball games Monday to Friday at 10 o'clock. There's a limit of 8 people per game. You can sign up at the concierge desk, and we just ask that residents sign up for no more than 3 games per week so that we can make sure that we make it available to as many residents as possible. So we know it's very important to have our activities and our socializing here, and we're making that a focus going into the fall months, where we know once it cools off, the outdoor spaces may not be as inviting for as many hours a day. Also keeping in mind that this is the August Resident Council meeting and we won't record another one till the end of September, I'd like to share with our residents that we are planning for the high holidays, and I do say that as a Catholic schoolboy, so Haima has helped bring me along with this, but we are planning high holidays for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We very much feel that it's important to continue on traditions. during a time that's difficult like this, and we're committed to having our residents enjoy it as much as possible. So stay tuned, there'll be more details to come for that as well.
Tom, as far as the holidays are concerned, there will be something posted by next week. All residents will receive this. If you opt into Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that's up to you. There's no discrimination here. Everybody will get this letter from a subcommittee of residents, but that all has Tom's concurrence. What I was thinking about that has to do with the Jewish high holidays as well as the activities, however, is we are concerned about people who sign up for all kinds of activities and then don't come. Because we're so limited and restricted in the number of people who can come to activities, we beg of you, please get yourself to any activity at least 5 minutes before the activity begins, so that the person running the activity, there's often a waiting list on a sheet of paper, and if you aren't there 5 minutes before, it would allow us the option of reaching out to someone and allowing them to come who really wanted to come. Please be thoughtful about that, because people really would like to be able to get on these lists.
Thank you for
Okay,
doing that.
and may I add, they don't have to wait up until the 5 minutes if they know
Yes,
that they're
come
not
or-
gonna- just let them know.
If you find that you can't come to an activity to which you signed, just call the concierge. They're happy to take care of that and change the list. It's not a problem, but please let us know.
Yeah, treat it like it's an appointment. You don't just blow it off, because there are waiting lists for everything. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Simon.
And not a final thing, but we want to make sure that everyone's aware that we follow the IDPH guidance. We're also following the City of Chicago Emergency Travel Order. That list of states is updated every Tuesday, and the City of Chicago, although we're in Lincolnwood, we're very, very close to Chicago in proximity, and the Carrington is following that emergency travel order. So we ask that if you know a family who may be planning a trip here to come visit you, make sure that they're not coming from a state that's on that list, because there's a mandatory 14-day quarantine period. If you really feel strongly you need to visit one of those states, we'd ask that when you return, you observe that 14-day quarantine period. We'll be happy to continue meal delivery. We can bring you snacks and whatever you might need from the convenience store. And the list of states that is on the emergency travel order is available at the check-in desk by the concierge. We also have the website listed on the update that goes out, so please check that. For our independent living residents, we are continuing with, you may have 2 designated visitors where you can have one of them in your apartment at a time for a private visit. We are asking that it is residents only in the indoor common areas so that we can accommodate our residents. However, you are free to meet with your family members outside on the patio areas, and we do have the patio area outside the tap room. We have some seating groups outside the living room, as well as out front, so feel free to use those. We ask that you wear masks at all times and stay social distant. And for our assisted living and memory care residents, we do have outdoor patio visits available, and those are Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. They're in 15-minute blocks so that we can accommodate as many visitors as possible to see the residents. We are only admitting essential visitors into assisted living and memory care at this time, which would include healthcare professionals, therapy providers. So if you'd like to schedule a patio visit, use that ALMC questions at thecarrington.com, and we'd be happy to accommodate a visit. We know it's very important to see your loved ones during this time. I think I've covered everything, but I'll look over my sheet as a backup.
Well, and for independent living residents, you can also visit when people are feeling a little bit lonely. You can visit each other in your apartment. The restrictions are the same. You don't want any more than a couple people in your apartment. And don't forget, you can share a meal. You can bring one. bring your lunch or dinner or breakfast into one of the common rooms and sit down and share a meal and chat that way. So you're not stuck in your apartment.
That's a great point. Yeah, we would encourage residents to get out, check on each other, knock on your neighbor's door. And one of the ideas that the resident council has brought up is forming a buddy system for residents to check in on each other. So there'll be more to come about that as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Tom. Thanks, everyone.
I'd like to thank the resident council. I'd like to thank our community nurse, Helen DeRodala, for coming down on short notice and sitting in on our recorded meeting today. Very glad to have Helen here with us. I'd like to thank all our residents, staff members, and families. We appreciate your support during this time. We're here to communicate. And as I like to tell people, I'm the only Tom that works here. So you can reach me, tom@thecarrington.com. That's the best way to get me, tom@thecarrington.com. And we'll see you all next month for the next resident council meeting. Thanks and take care.
Yay for the
Bye.
staff.
Bye-bye.